As I approached the site of the accident, I saw something that would haunt me for a lifetime. My parents' car was nothing more than a twisted hunk of metal and shattered glass. The air reeked heavily of burning rubber and the sweet metallic taste of blood. My mother slumped over the steering wheel, her head canted at an awkward angle. A mess of cuts and bruises marred her face, and her eyes were shut as if all she was doing was sleeping. But I knew she was not sleeping. I knew she was gone. My father lay on the ground, his limbs contorted at weird angles. A blood mask covered his face, his eyes frozen in some sort of eternal stare. I still saw that most repugnant glint of recognition in his eyes, like he was trying to tell me something. A wave of nausea washed over me as I took in the scene. I stumbled backward, my eyes fixed on my parents' bodies. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was like some kind of nightmare actually coming to life. I felt myself disassociate and watched the scene outside my body, floating above the wreckage to stare down at the broken bodies of my parents. The siren wail then cut the air, and a wave of relief washed over me. Help was coming, but as I turned to the bodies of my parents, I knew it was already very late. They were gone, and nothing in this world could bring them back. Immediately, I was hit by a wave of overwhelming grief, and I slumped to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. My life was filled with bereavement and despair. I did not know how I might survive without my parents. Their bodies broken, I feel a surge of anger and frustration at the image. Why does this have to be happening to me? Why am I supposed to lose my parents in such a tragic and chillingly pointless way? But as I looked into their faces, there was something about them that oddly gave me the strength to carry on. I saw an aura of peace and tranquility, an acceptance and a surrender. And in that moment, I knew that they were at peace and watchful of me from wherever they were. I took a deep breath, knowing full well that I had to gear up and move on to find my way of healing, moving on, and making them proud. And with that, I stood up, wiped my tears, and started walking toward a better future, one full of hope, love, and memories of my parents. As I walked, determination began to rise up inside of me. I was going to make it through this, no matter what. I was going to find a way to heal, to move forward, and to make my parents proud. I remembered all the moments that I had experienced with my mom and dad. The laughter, the tears, the triumphs, and the failures. I remembered how Mom used to sing to me, and how Dad read stories to me. I remembered how my parents used to hold me, how they made me feel safe and loved. As I walked, serenity began to fall upon me. Not that I knew my parents were gone, but I felt deep in my heart that they would always be there with me. In my heart, to guide, support, and love me forever. I must have walked for hours, lost in my thoughts, lost in my memories. I felt myself walking towards the park where my parents used to take me. I sat down on a bench, looking out into a world that surrounded me. I saw the beauty of nature, the beauty of life. I saw how the sun filters through the trees, how flowers bloom in the garden. I saw how birds chirp in the trees, how children play in the park. In that instant, all felt right with the world. I knew I would survive all this, find a way to heal and move on, and keep my parents proud. I just sat on that bench for a long, long time, lost in thought, lost in memories, until the sun had a little beginning of its setting. The stars began twinkling in the sky. And so I sat there, the peace just settled over me. I knew my parents were gone yet would always be with me. I knew they'd always be in my heart to guide me through, support me, and love me. I stood up, and I began to walk back home. I walked, this time with a sense of purpose, a sense of determination. I was walking knowing full well that I would be okay. I would make it.